does consumer have the knowledge and the skills to choose sustainable products, for example? And we're trying to come up with solutions that eases the kind of a cognitive load when you are browsing through different kind of options. For example, when you do some shopping or.
Welcome to the Urbanista, where we discuss the water management challenges of Nordic cities. From safe drinking water distribution and stormwater collection to building sustainable urban living environments. Here is your host, Delphine Vesalo.
No, hey, welcome back, Urbanistas, and Happy New Year! As we are recording this at the very start of 2025. And if you remember, you have been listening to us during 2024, we have talked a lot about sustainability, raw materials, best practices, innovation, green infrastructure, and many, many more things with all our guests. But today, we wanted to address the sustainability aspect from a slightly different angle. The people, right? I mean, you, me, all of us humans who living in the cities, all young millennials, Gen Xs, however you want to tag, the people and their attitudes towards sustainability, sustainable products, sustainable services. So we are kind of turning it around. And for that, today with us, we have an expert who has done a lot of scientific research about this topic. And so who are you and what do you do?
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for inviting me, Delphine. My name is Tom Tamlander, and I'm a research scientist at VTT. And VTT is a Technical Research Centre of Finland, if you didn't know. Also, VTT is quite widely known as a technology-oriented research organization, but I'm a part of a team that focuses on something a bit different, or has a bit different kind of angle, and this is about understanding the consumer side of these innovations and sustainability. Well, I think we believe also that technology alone isn't enough to shape a sustainable future. We have to think how people interact with, adopt and respond to this new innovation. And I think it's equally important to come up with this new kind of beautiful innovation and technologies. And that's actually where our team at VTT comes in. And our team is called Future Customers. And
Future customers or
future customers. Yeah.
Okay.
I might say consumers, but maybe a bit more.
Okay.
Cleaner
Yeah. Okay.
customers.
That's pretty much general. We call them like that.
Yeah. And my work focuses a lot on consumer behavior insights, and particularly how people form attitudes and make decisions around sustainability and sustainable living. And a major objective for me and my colleagues is to provide data-driven insights that help companies, policymakers, and even everyday citizens to navigate the transition to the sustainability. So we're trying to hasten the sustainability transition with different kind of methods. Of course, there's some methods related to co-designing and all this more qualitative phase, but my work is focusing lots in this data-driven, having different kind of data inputs and service and also the sales data, combining lots of different angles.
Which is something like really interesting when we start to talk about when we met at this event that was organized by VTT. There is all this very data-driven scientific research, as you mentioned, when we talk about things, how to say it, materials, it's kind of very straightforward. When we start to talk about people or humans, I would say the most unpredictable element in this area, we humans, that's when I guess it starts to get a bit more complicated, because there may be many things that influence whatever, or the perception that the people have about all these sustainable products, the perception that we ourselves have, of ourselves, the culture, the age. I don't know. That's why I found fascinating all the research that you have been doing, like combining these two things and trying to explain, the opinions and the behaviors of us. So if we can just start to dig in what you have been focusing is in which geographical area? Mostly Finland, or I was understood that it was also you to set this in Finland, Netherlands, and some other European countries, right?
Yeah, of course. It's we focus in Finland, but lots of these cross-sectional European studies that we try to, as you mentioned, take account to different cultures when we trying to form these psychological factors that are affecting the consumer decisions. So we need to take account the culture, of course, and there's lots of differences when we think about how people, for example, perceive the sustainability in different countries, and we have to take this account as well when we draft the surveys. That, for example, in Portugal, people are very enthusiastic to answer very positive way, and in Finland there's a bit of this hesitant attitude, even when we compare different countries. And this is actually what we have to take account when we analyze the cross-European surveys also.
How comparable is really the results from different countries given these cultural nuances?
Yeah, we have to be quite cautious, of course, of course, as I mentioned. And it's good to do some comparisons between countries, but you have to be quite conservative. But what I'm trying to also dig into in the studies that also to create kind of a landscape of different cultures in different countries, and trying to understand the cultural nuances and what are actually different kind of things that are affecting or supports certain behavior. And of course, very important part is to understand these different kind of enablers and barriers that support the sustainable behavior. So these kind of things we have to take in mind when we focus on this sustainability and the psychological factors behind behavior.
If we can start to dig deeper, you mentioned enablers, okay, regardless of the country or age, maybe, but how do you what do we understand by these enablers? Like, if you can put some examples.
So we studied actually this sustainability through this COM-B modeling, and we can formulate the behavior by understanding this capability, opportunity, and motivation. And these are critical parts that are affecting how people are actually behaving. And what we are focusing lots of that, we use this model as a basis to understand kind of a readiness for sustainable behavior or readiness to change. And this is very interesting to understand, because then we can actually, understanding these different barriers that comes out from this modeling, we can actually tailor the message or the marketing directly to the certain consumer segments by understanding how they are most easily kind of affected through different kind of nudges or not just a kind of soft interventions that we can try to suggest some things that make sustainable choices easier, for example. And about this modeling, the capability dimension, we are trying to understand, does consumer have the knowledge and the skills to choose sustainable products, for example? And we're trying to come up with solutions that eases the kind of a cognitive load when you are browsing through different kind of options. For example, when you do some shopping or selecting between products, and we can come up with kind of for example, clear labeling systems or easing the information that is more perceivable, and also tailor it for certain consumer segments that it fits to their value personal values in a sense. And
you mentioned a couple of things. Sorry to interrupt. You mentioned a couple of things. If we start to dig deeper, starting from how receptive we are, or the different types of population, how receptive they are to anything regarding sustainability or products, and then have you found any resistance there to change? That is one. So, is there any resistance, particular from any country, age group, or something? That is one. And second, once you found that, certain population group is particularly more receptive, what's the first thing that they come when it comes to sustainability? So first, the barrier. So are people, or who is more receptive than others, without falling in cliches of age, or I don't know what you have found, like data.
What we have seen, especially in Finland, that there's this boomer woman that are very receptive to this sustainability messaging, and they have kind of ingrained the sustainability in their lifestyles. And we've seen that in different sustainability areas, such as food and materials, and they are kind of thought leaders or in Finland. Then there is this second group, is this kind of an emerging segment that consists mostly of these younger families. That is quite good sign that they kind of have this concern for future generations also, and but they still somehow struggle to make this sustainability part of the daily activities, and even they have quite high motivation and goal setting. They want to do better, and this is typically quite big share, especially in Finland, around 30% in different areas. And this kind of a segment that is very good for targeting with these different kind of strategies, communication strategies, marketing strategies. And as you mentioned, the most neglecting or passive ones in Finland are these middle-aged men living in Western Finland. It's quite specific, but we have found this. There's some kind of this kind of attitude. They don't even want to be seen as leading these sustainable roles. So there's some kind of things going on, but still there is hope, because for example, in food space, we can actually come with some strategies that are related to personal health, and we can actually turn that in that way and come up with solutions that highlight the personal well-being. So there's this very interesting strategies for these different types of consumer segments.
Actually, what you mentioned about the young families, and I'm just thinking, 30-somethings, 40 years,
Gen Y.
with the small kids already, or maybe 10, 15-year-old kids, I don't know, which you mentioned they are very conscious of what we are doing now and what are we going to leave to our kids in the future. And that includes what we do, I mean, in our footprint, quite literally, but also the knowledge or the wisdom that we embed into our kids, as you mentioned, healthy eating habits, how we are approaching all these sustainable products, and how are we teaching our kids to prefer or to be aware of all these sustainable options. So maybe that's the key segment that at some point we need to communicate more efficiently.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, there's that way, especially in food space, that kids are actually bringing these new ideas, new recipes, vegetarian recipes, and actually they socially influencing their parents, and that's actually turned around nicely. That the younger generation, these very young people, are actually coming with these sustainable ideas. And as we talked earlier, that there's also this high concern for these very young people about how they act and what kind of consumer goods they choose. So they kind of looking also these very responsible products, and they want to understand the impact they make. So these are kind of things we have found in several studies that there's definitely this kind of concern, and maybe they can actually move this environmental concern also to their parents, and they can influence the family in that way. So this is especially in the food space we have found this.
What else have you found
sustainable eating?
In this food space, because you were mentioning earlier briefly about the labeling of whatever we eat, or any food can or envelope, which I understand there should be certain regulation about the nutritional facts that they should put there, but I'm not sure how do we communicate, for example, in the food, in all these labels. Have you found something?
Yeah, of course, we're trying to all come up with these labeling systems, but it's still in early stages in Finland. And of course, there's good examples. For example, in Great Britain, there's been in years this kind of health labeling already in use, and I don't see how that we should come up with this kind of also this labeling system related to emissions or environmental impact also in the future. And that's a kind of a thing we are looking at VTT as well. But of course, it's very difficult to make them comparable, all different product categories, and how you compare different types of products. So I'm looking for it, and as I heard that actually these big retailers in Finland are now focused and are trying to come up with this life cycle assessment for their product categories in the near future.
Right.
And that is very good sign, even if they use kind of a mean values that approximates for different product categories, and etc. But that actually could hasten the labeling system if it's is initiated by the retailers, for example. And that is actually very good trend, in my opinion.
That yes, actually, because we all go out to buy groceries, right? So every week or every month, and change should happen from somewhere. Yeah, actually, I didn't know that. That's a very positive sign. You mentioned also across different categories. Okay, food we mentioned. I remember that you mentioned before electronics, actually wearables, all these type of things that we have. Like, you had something about that?
Yeah, of course. I'm part of this project called Sustronics that we are trying to tackle the challenges.
What was that?
Sustronics, Sustainable Electronics, Sustronics.
Uh-huh.
We are trying to develop this circular and eco-friendly electronics, and it's very interesting project because we are collaborating with companies that actually explore these new types of materials and kind of printed electronics. And also in this project, we are trying to tackle this digital product passport that is quite a thing also in Europe, that we're trying to come up with this kind of also labeling system that is used for consumers and companies to understand the life cycle and the origin, and brings also transparency of the products. But,
digital passport.
Digital product passports.
Digital product passport. Can you just please explain what is that? So for the people that may not know, what's exactly that?
It's an effort to come up with this kind of adding information to products that include this information about materials used, what kind of origins it has, kind of how sustainable is that, and also about something about end life options. How is it easily recyclable? How transparent also this product attributes. So we try to communicate the production to the consumers and companies, that they can actually make standardized way, and they can actually make the conscious choices when they're buying or choosing some inputs for the production.
I assume this may be some European Union initiative or Europe-wide initiative?
It's an European Union initiative, yes.
Okay.
At the moment, so we're also testing how the potential consumers are seeing the benefits around that as well. And there's actually quite in our previous survey they were quite keen on, and around 70% of the Europeans actually see that it's very good thing to come up with this labeling, like using this digital product passports. So very good ideas. But when we look at this sustainable or wearable electronics in this project, there are very nice initiatives to come up with this, for example, non-invasive measuring of a sweat, for example, that we can understand multiple biomarkers just using like a strap on your hand, and it's used to some padding, and there's measuring device.
Patch, okay, yes.
Yeah, patch. And there's a very good opportunities to actually, of course, there's a big group of these people with diabetes that would benefit that lots. They could replace these finger prick methods or the implants you put on under the skin that are typically used for the long-term measuring of blood sugar. But I see that this could be also a nice way for also the athletes and also people who are interested in health, but also these special groups that have some medical conditions, that we actually can come up with this simple device that produces lots of nice data, and we can use software with AI that could be built like in predictive nature, for example, that you can actually predict your health also with this kind of device, and could also coach your health. So very interesting things I think in that.
But this is actually as a concept, or maybe some reality, this is super interesting. I mean, tracking all. But if we are talking about data, and if talking about number one, personal data, because it's my health, my cardiac frequency, or my level of sugar if I am diabetic, kind of sensible data. And if second, if this is whatever is the wearable transported via the internet. So there's those. I'm thinking about already many things. GDPR. So where that goes, where is that stored? And second, if it flies somewhere over the internet, where my data about my health ends up.
Yes,
there's a lot of angles there.
There's a lot of angles, and that's actually what we are trying to tackle in this upcoming big European-wide survey, where we have Sweden, Finland, also Germany and Portugal. So kind of a northern Europe, Middle Europe, Southern Europe, and it's kind of an effort. We build the modeling in a way that there's this technology acceptance modeling for these certain technologies that we are building through this project. So we're actually testing qualitatively of these pilot products for different consumer groups, and we including in this survey also the athletes and diabetes patients, but also pregnant women that we are. There's a kind of a pilot for also interesting for kind of a home testing kit that you can print kind of a test strips that you can use at home testing for, and that's kind of a thing that could ease in the burden of medical centers. Of course, you don't need that much laboratory test anymore if you can make robust health tests at home setting as well. And of course, again, you can get some results on your smartphone and show the doctor around like for 3 months time how the different biomarkers look like. So very interesting. And to tackle that privacy issue, we also are including lots of about this concern related, because for me, for example, I don't know if I'm very comfortable if I use this kind of a device that measures lots of data and predict, and I'm going to be a bit nervous and concerned about my future. That kind of things, of course, we have to understand. And maybe the new thing is this also, just to try to understand how people perceive this AI-driven health analytics. If you can have the software that uses AI to analyze vast amounts of your health data, and how well that is perceived as well. So very, very interesting. And this collaboration is also good because I can communicate directly to the companies and can help them to come up with these truly sustainable options, and where they can replace, for example, the material composition to recycled plastics or some wooden casing for the device. And there's also this, as we're talking about health electronics, there are these pilot partners that delivers lots of instruments also the hospital environment. And there's a lot of concern about end use, this kind of electrodes you have to use to measure, for example, heart rate or something from your head, some brain activities. And typically they are composed of silver, and that is quite a shame that they are just thrown away, and that is kind of a wasted opportunity to just throw away the precious metals and rare metals like silver. And in this project, we are actually developing these options for these electrodes that could be made from, for example, carbon or using carbon graphene. So there is this kind of opportunities to make truly sustainable options of these electrodes that they could be actually they could be biodegradable instead of just throwing the precious metals away. So we are looking this, and of course it's a case of course consumers and the patients could accept it, but of course it's a B2B case as well, that we have to understand what is the readiness and willingness of the companies who build these kind of products, that measuring products, how they would adopt these kind of more sustainable electrodes, for example, using the carbon. And it's very interesting because in Finland we have company who creates the electrodes, and that company is part of the project as well. So we have nice link that we have the kind of a B2B and opportunity to understand also the European-wide level, that how these medical electric device companies see the benefits, and what is their mindset, and are there some restricting perspective about how they can actually adopt these new technologies. So very interesting stuff. Lots of different stakeholders coming.
It's super interesting because I mean, in this whole universe of circularity, there's a lot of talk about, and maybe not too much clarity about. But when you start to focus on certain specific areas or industries, like now you're mentioning all these medical devices or things that you use in a hospital. Once you start to focus on specific use cases, I mean, these electrodes, I believe that you put, the electrocardiography, never, of course, that's out of my radar completely. But if they are made of, or they have some rare metals, of course, what do we do with them after? What's the potential? I mean, this is just a bit, start to dig a bit deeper. I mean, you don't need to dig too much. And we found this type of things that are maybe out of the mainstream conversation. But I mean, circularity is everywhere. We just need to dig a bit deeper, and we found some nice use cases.
Yeah. And about the consumer perception about this environmental health test, for example, we found that around 70% of Europeans actually want more control over the personal health at the moment, and 75% actually are open this simple kind of home test that they can use. So there's actually very much interest, and also this health related devices. Well, of course, we've seen in wearables it's a booming industry. Of course, these Oura rings and watches we're using, but we can actually come up with also this very high quality and robust home testing, and also the wearables that can actually look the biomarkers very, very nicely, and create positive impact. And and also I was just touching a little bit about that the materials also are very important, that we could come up with these sustainable options, for example, recycled materials for the casing of the watch, or using even the wood. We are in Finland, residue pulp or something instead of bamboo, for example. And we found that especially the Portugal and Spain are very interested in this natural and renewable material options in this health and electronic products. So there's kind of a different perspective, and this is kind of a similar thing we found when we looked at the sustainable and safe materials, that also the Southern Europe seems to be very interested in these natural and sustainable material options in textiles and different kind of materials they choose.
Actually, now that you mentioned textile, because we have talked about health, about food, about electronics / wearables. Now you mentioned textiles, clothing, like circular clothing. I mean, there's a lot of discussion also out there about this fast fashion. I mean, whatever is, of course, your opinion about that, which is apparently not good. Of course, this fast fashion is not so environmentally sustainable. But circular clothing, I believe that was another aspect of your research.
it's kind of interesting that these electronics and the fashion, just as textiles, are very fast rotating consumer goods. They have very short life cycle at the moment, and that is kind of a thing we need to tackle if we want to create truly sustainable options. And I don't know if you heard this PFAS, that is this eternal molecule that is used as a coating, for example, PFAS, rain jackets and food packaging. Lots of it's used in different kind of consumer goods, and that is kind of we're trying to come up with this PFAS-free alternative technology also at VTC, that we can replace and phase out these dangerous chemicals, and we. Also did the consumer survey trying to address this issue and understand the awareness of this dangerous chemical used in consumer goods, and we found that especially the France was very interested in phasing out, and there's been also some of the communication earlier in the last year about this. Lots of in media about this PFAS, and there's a very much interest for that. And of course, in the fashion, you mentioned that fast circulating, fast production cycles and high resource use. We are seeing that textiles generate massive volumes of waste. Lots of clothes end up to the landfills, even they're not used. Yeah,
exactly.
So it's
what do we do?
Pretty crazy. And the numbers are staggering. If I remember correctly, it was something like 30 million tons of textile end up in landfills and not recycled. And there is this actually very interesting project coming up this year that we are trying to come up with these new types of circular solutions for clothing. And for example, we are looking at this truly recycled textiles, how again consumers perceive these kind of options. Another one is we can use like a natural source like algae as a basis for creating sustainable clothes. So
clothes made of algae.
Algae, yeah.
Yes,
that's very interesting. And this again,
right.
we are taking the big consumer survey. We have this kind of a pilot producers again, companies along, and we are actually trying to test again the perceptions of the consumers by using this choice modeling, introducing the products, this kind of new pilot products, and trying to understand how are they preferred, and of course, interestingly, what is the maximum willingness to pay, for example, for this kind of a circularly produced or produced from the algae type of
that was something. Yes, some. Other interesting insight that maybe you can provide. All these recyclable materials, all this circularity, when we apply to certain products, is something new. It has certain disruption in the normal way of producing. Therefore, we need alternative, or companies, manufacturers need an alternative way to produce whatever it is. Hence, that is reflected on the price. If you go to supermarket or anything that is labeled as organic, recycled, sustainable, normally, well, it's more expensive, 10, 20, 30% more expensive, because we are at that stage. Now you mentioned, yes, what is this willingness for consumers, you, me, everybody, to pay more for a sustainable option versus another, not non-sustainable, but another option. So that's also,
Yes, that is the way, actually. We're trying to understand the sustainability attributes and how much the willingness to pay towards these sustainability attributes. And what we've seen in this previous project that, for example, this PFAS-free related project, we also tested kind of a PFAS-free raincoat or rain jacket. And there was actually quite high interest in France and for this sustainable option for the rain jacket, and this was actually around interesting because there was Gen Z from France that were very interested in this. They had around 7 to 8% they were willing to pay 7 to 8% higher price premiums for this more sustainable option that phase out the PFAS. Kind of France is kind of leading even in younger generations in these first early results. And of course we had this Luxembourg also included in this study that is quite a small country, and there was also lots of interest from different Gen Z generations. They were mostly women for these sustainable material options. So of course there's differences, as I mentioned earlier, that in Southern Europe, like Portugal and Spain, they're very interested in these natural materials, but they have very high affordability concerns at the same moment. So that is a kind of a problem, that they're very keen on these new types, but they're a bit cautious still about the price.
Is that something that you are, in the companies that you are collaborating with, so of course they get the benefit of the results of their research, but if in the end you provide these insights and research, this is the best way to produce or to manufacture whatever is the item, the product in a sustainable way, how much are they interested, to put it in practice and then to find ways to make it more operationally and economically for the company feasible? That is, there's still a profit for the company, but still delivering at affordable price. So in the companies that you are collaborating, are they really thinking about that providing affordable, sustainable products?
Yeah, I would hope that we could come up with that kind of solutions that we can actually scale up the production in some point using the different kind of inputs, more sustainable inputs, and scaling up may lower the prices. But I think, as I mentioned in the beginning, that we are looking at these emerging segments that are highly interested in sustainability. And maybe the best way is try to roadmap and communicate with companies about these results, that we can actually use this choice modeling of willingness to pay as a basis to understand the potential of early adopters. Then there is this kind of a laggard group that are this next coming when they understand, but they need maybe bit more understanding the benefits and different kind of strategies that they understand what is truly sustainable. So there's a bit skepticism in round of different sustainability issues, and this actually case when we look at some of the data that in Europe there's a bit more skepticism about these sustainability issues and what technologies are they actually sustainable, and are they actually beneficial? When we compare again to Finland we have people are trusting actually these lands, different companies and institutions quite much more compared to other parts of Finland. So we have kind of a good opportunity in Finland that people actually are looking at companies to take action, and they can actually trust them. So there's not that much kind of a skepticism around this sustainability. So again, need kind of when we look at the market area, we need to understand the message, what kind of message about sustainability, and of course test the technology. Is it accepted, and how the people perceive and the benefits of the different sustainability attributes. So
all these sustainability attributes, as you have pointed out now, you mentioned examples of concrete countries from concrete industries or sectors. There's no one size fits all, of course, depending what is the background, depending also the affordability. We talk about that as well. So this seems to be a quite extensive topic, and no one size fits all, and that's, I guess, that's something that needs to be taken into account, whatever is European Union, whatever we end up with the legislation, that it may not be one blanket standard for everybody or for every industry or for every country. There's a lot of nuance here. But thanks, of course, to you or to people like you and VTT that are doing all these researches to prove, as you said, with data, hey, this is the hard number that says that we should go in that way or in this other way. So that's actually the importance of all the research that you are doing. So we have talked about many industries, many countries, nuances depending actually the age brackets as well.
Yeah,
How would you like to summarize? I mean, all the final of what you have been doing in this research, and what's next? What are you up next?
So, of course, we have this goal to understand the sustainable living in Europe as well, and this is kind of what's missing at the moment at literature. And my idea is to try to combine all these nice inputs from different sustainable areas and formulate the European sustainable living and how does it look like coming up with this holistic perspective. And this actually could be very relevant for the companies to when they design the new products, to understand who are the actual thought leaders for sustainability, and they can actually stand out on the market and also attract these sustainable or emerging sustainable consumers in early phase. So this is very, very relevant, this sustainable consumer behavior at the moment, and we see and that there's a bit of knowledge in companies that how is it tackled, how is it understood, but I think my role at VTT is to try to come with solutions and easily we can tackle this issue. And as I mentioned, we need to tailor the message and make the sustainability options more accessible and create this accessible infrastructure that can unlock this latent demand of sustainability and transforming it from these niche concerns of this small group into mainstream expectation. So this is kind of a bit by bit we're trying to move people towards the sustainability and that kind of and as I mentioned, it's very important to also to understand the technological issues and the benefits. So trying to combine the behavioral insights along with this technological acceptance, because technology doesn't boom if no one uses it. So it's very important. Maybe my position now is going forward. We are having nice collaboration coming up with Fazer again and food companies and retailers. So we're trying to bring in this message and in also and also I'm doing a PhD related this how we can collaborate among lots of business policymakers and research institutions like VTT, how we can collaborate and create truly innovative and sustainable future and products. So combining technical innovation and deeper consumer insights, we can ensure sustainability and make it everyday reality for as many people as possible.
That is the punchline there. Yeah, combining all that technical innovation data and how do we benefit, or what's the benefit for
and
for
also
our people.
Also using the secondary data, like combining the sales data to support these stated findings from survey designs, that we can actually have some real life data to support this. So it's very, very interesting to glue these together and see what's kind of an things. And especially we can tackle beyond the typical this market segmentation by understanding the underlying behavioral factors that are affecting the sustainable choices. So it's kind of a new angle. I haven't heard that much from other companies or people how they tackling this way. So I think this is
looking forward to know more.
New.
Yeah, looking forward to knowing more. And as you said, this is a continuous effort, and you are continuing, of course. And now, if I maybe kind of try to commit you publicly a bit here, within whatever 4 or 6 months, I don't know, if you could come back and give us an update and share, okay, now this is where we were at the beginning of 2025. Now this is where we are with new data, with new fresh insights. That would be super appreciated, Tom.
I'll be wiser then. And I have to say, we have now I'm analyzing very interesting Gen Z data related to this future of food, and about Gen Z's mindset about future orientation, but also how they perceive this cell agriculture, these efforts to make the food system more sustainable by creating these new types of proteins, for example, like based on the microalgae or these laboratory grown things that we are very into, of course, in technology side VT, but how actually the younger generations are how they do they see the very bad or the sensory rejection, or is it very beneficial for them as a when we think about sustainability? So next time I might have some really nice insights also about the future.
That's fine. Whenever you are ready, or whenever you are ready and comfortable with the data. So that would be super good. Tom, this has been super nice conversation. Thank you so much for all these insights, and of course for all the super valuable work that you are doing, and BTT as well. Thank you so much for being today with us and sharing your wisdom with our audience.
Thank you for listening to the Urbanista podcast, a production of Uponor Infra, the leader in sustainable infrastructure solutions. If you found it interesting, why don't you share it with your colleagues? We all together can move our industry forward.